let's move on to our second main topic today. And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Geeky Gator, who writes, "Hey, John and crew. During the big release date changes and announcements Disney made over the weekend, it was revealed Captain Marvel 2 will open on July 8th, 2022, which is just 1 week after the date Warner Brothers dated The Flash on July 1st, 2022. If The Flash actually gets made, and that is a huge question mark, which film do you think would do better? Which film is more likely to move?" All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Geeky Gator. And yes, this now has to be discussed in the light of, a little bit, unfortunately, the story we referred to a little bit earlier, of course, with the Ezra Miller video going around. Again, a lot of people, including myself, think it could be real, but highly doubt that it's real. So that aside, listen, I have had my doubts that this movie was going to happen at all. The only reason I still think it's legitimately possible, that Ezra Miller video nonsense stuff aside, okay, we're taking that, putting it on the shelf for a second. So just let's talk about this by its own merits. I've always really felt that there was a strong chance this movie never happens anyway. The only reason I believe it's possible that it can still happen is because Warner Brothers purposefully wanted Ezra Miller to pop up in the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover with Gustin, right? With Grant Gustin. They wanted him in there, as I think, as a reminder to everybody, hey, everybody, don't forget this Ezra Miller Flash is still around and we're going to do a movie. So that made me go from, like, I think there's a 25% chance that this Ezra Miller Flash movie actually happens to about 45% chance, right? And again, that's not even taking into consideration the stuff with this video. I don't think the video is real, but it might be, and if it is, then that kind of screws everything up altogether. But let's talk about this for a second, just in its own unique terms here. Let's say for a moment that these two movies do move forward and they do come out. July 1st, 2022 for Flash, July 8th, 2022 for Captain Marvel. Which one wins the box office? Which one, if either, decide to move? The answer to question one to me is obvious. The Captain Marvel movie will kick the crap out of the Flash movie. I mean, look, anything can happen in this world. Absolutely anything. I never thought Aquaman would make $800 million, and it made $1 billion, right? So there you go. I mean, anything can happen. But aside from the anything can happen argument, I just don't see any rational way one would think that a Captain Marvel movie, which made $1 billion at the box office in its first run, would get outperformed by a Flash movie that never had a first run and whose lead character is not nearly as embraced and beloved as Jason Momoa is playing Aquaman. And I just don't see how anybody can point to any rational data that would lead me to think that a Flash movie would outperform Captain Marvel 2. Now, this is all, of course, Rob, not taking into account that, hey, once we get closer to those dates, we'll see the trailers and then we'll start to get a feel. And who knows, maybe the Flash's trailers look like the best movie ever. The Captain Marvel 2 trailers, maybe they look like crap, and maybe that changes the narrative. But being on this side of it, I just don't see any way. And listen, as far as the question, Rob, about which one would move if either of them, well, history tells us DC will move Flash. That's what history tells us. We were in a similar situation to this when, what was it? It was going to be Captain America Civil War was going to be opening roughly the same time. Was it as Justice League? Or no, it was going to be of Batman versus Superman, I think. And they were in the exact same situation, and DC decided to move their movie, which, by the way, I don't think was a chicken thing. I think that was a smart thing. I think that was an intelligent thing to do. And they were the smart ones. They moved. So I think if history tells us anything, yeah, DC will be the one to move it. So assuming, Rob, that everything moves forward as planned, that's a big question mark. And assuming that I've always been wrong about my doubts that Flash would even never get made anyway, and we do come to this point in 2022 where we've got the Flash opening up on 1 week and Captain Marvel 2 opening up the next week, I put the question to you, our existential Mr. Rogers. Which one wins the box office? And maybe even more importantly, do one of them move instead? And if so, which one takes the dive? How do you see it?
Dude, there is no way on God's green earth that a Flash movie would ever rival a Captain Marvel movie at the box office, with one exception. The Captain Marvel movie would really have to suck. I mean, remember, that film made over $1 billion. Captain Marvel's now been appearing in other Marvel movies, including Endgame, and she's probably going to appear, I mean, I don't know if she's in the Eternals or not, but the character obviously struck a chord with a lot of female viewers. You've got the female audience, and, you know, Flash, I just don't see. Flash is a smaller character. Flash has also been seen on TV on the CW for how many seasons now? And by the time the Flash movie comes out, there might be 10 seasons of Flash on TV. It's not like people have been missing the character. And I just don't see. I think Flash would absolutely move. And I think it's no contest. And this is from somebody who loved Ezra Miller as the Flash. I have Ezra Miller's hot toy right here. And I really have. I loved him in Perks of Being a Wallflower. I recently showed Elizabeth, although she wonders why, we have to talk about Kevin, or we need to talk about Kevin.
We need to talk about Kevin.
He's great in that. And I just don't see a Flash movie posing any threat, even if they open on the same day. Captain Marvel wins, and twice on Sunday. So.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. And I'm like you. I say that as somebody who I enjoy Ezra Miller as the Flash.
Me too.
I liked him as the Flash. I thought he was really good as the Flash. I have my other opinions about outside of that, but that's how it is. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. Guys, the question for you then is, what do you think about this? If you had to guess right now, if all of the things being equal, everything moved forward and all that kind of stuff, and we end up getting Flash and Captain Marvel going head to head just 1 week apart, which one do you think ends up winning that box office? And do you think one of them actually moves? And if so, do you think it'll be the Flash that moves off that date? Do you think it'll be Captain Marvel 2 that moves off that date? How do you see it? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.